Morning all, how are you doing? Bear with me 1 second, I'll just find my news. So we're going to trade Frankfurt open this morning. We've got 5 minutes roughly to the open. What we're doing. Okay. Right, so news today. There is no news. Well, we have got news, but it's not until 10:15 this evening. So nothing this morning, nothing today to worry about news-wise. So we can just normal price action today. Morning, Michael. The indices. Yesterday, obviously, we had a down day. It went green to red, which is kind of the play I had yesterday. So that worked really nicely in the New York Open yesterday. We had a really nice, strong push down towards the close. Today, we've put in some pretty decent price action already. We are massively extended away from the moving average, though. We are miles away from it. So very difficult to tell what's going to happen this morning. Markets are still collapsing. There's still money coming out across the board on everything. As you can see, everything's sold off yesterday. So it's tricky to know which way we're going to go this morning. Based on the price action we've had so far, they've kind of cleaned the decks. The markets are down at the moment at the open across the board. All the other markets are down. The DAX is flat, so I'm assuming that we're going to go down this morning at the open. So that's kind of the play for the minute. But obviously the DAX is way more extended than all the other indices at the moment. So we're approaching sort of new lows on the year on all the other indices. So yeah, I think today we'll be looking. Let's get rid of that. What's that doing there? Don't know why. So today I think we'll be looking at potentially a drop at the open, but we will see. So we've had a push up this morning. We had a nice little push rally, and then we've dropped back down again. We had a tiny little gap this morning, but nothing much, and it got filled straight away. So yeah, play this morning I think is to look for short opportunities. Morning, Mayo. We'll have a look at all the FX pairs as well, but we'll just play the open. We've got 3 minutes to go on the open. US dollar yesterday closed high again. So really big strong push on the US dollar, and it's still going. We've had a bit of a pullback, and looks like we're pushing again already at the open. So very strong US dollar at the moment, and that's been reflected across the board on obviously all the FX pairs coming down crazy. So euros, obviously we looked at this yesterday, the 4 hours. The euro was extended to 80s and 90s across the board. So is the pound. They've all come out of those extensions now. So if you look at all the other euros, euro odd, etc. So we've had these nice pullbacks starting. So euros are looking like they're nice to short. How far these pullbacks are going to go is very difficult to tell. But pullbacks all underway on the euro pairs. So it's really difficult to measure where this move started from, but you kind of have to say probably last week is what we're looking at. So we are approaching the 38 on Euro New Zealand, so potentially that's all we're going to get on it before we get another push down, another leg down, but we'll see what happens on those. But yeah, very extended. Right, what happened to Bitcoin yesterday? Big push up and down last week. Nothing much. So a bit more down day on the cryptos yesterday. Yeah, still coming down. Right. Okay, so what's everybody's thoughts this morning? Up or down? That's a nice little rejection wick there on the at the open, just before the open. I haven't got auto trading turned on. I'm going to stick a quick buy stop on that at the open, just see if we get a flurry at the open. There's a big rejection wick there. I'm in long. This might be a stupid trade. Never mind. Just looked like that was a big buy up at the open there. It's worth a try. Morning, Dan. Yeah, still like look at that. Might have another go at that. Looking like he wants to go long at the open. S&P going long as well. Okay, so if we're going long, obviously we've got a few targets to the upside from today we could potentially aim for. Morning, Andy. Yeah, it looks like we might want to have a little push up today, basically. Obviously, with the DAX being so extended away from its moving average, it may want to do a bit of a pullback this morning. I'm just going to drag this TP out a bit further. It's quite a big push at the open, that. So TP is just below yesterday's high. Shame I got stopped out on that first trade there. It was annoying. Morning, Rahat. Morning, Stevie. Okay, I've got 50 seconds left on this candle. Closing that one out there. So that's 0.5% gain. So I lost 0.5% on that initial wick. So going to buy the pullbacks basically. That's a big old opening range, that is, as well. It's going to be quite difficult to trade that as a opening range breakout today. It's a big old range. Hopefully we get a pullback. There's your opening range high and low. Okay, so pullback starting. Might flick down to the 1 minute chart. Just to get a better idea of price action, because if this is going to go fast long today, I want to get in a little bit quicker than M5, because by the time you got in on M5, there's a good chance we're going to get some really big candles today. It's already going. Look. $400 pips is a bit tight as a stop as well. Wow, that's really off. Just wondering if we will see a stop hunt low on the indices before real move higher today. It doesn't look like it at the moment. It could do. It's going to have to pull back a fair bit. Difficult to chase that. Okay, so we've got pullback starting. Equidistant channel. So this rubbish. Okay, see if we can get a decent pullback. Nice propulsion move there. To potentially pull back into and keep an eye on the 38.50 level. NAS is bullish as well. All the indices will be bullish. If the DAX is flying, then everything else will be flying with it. Decent pullback on the FTSE. Just about to get a reverse alert on the S&P. Nice W there. I'm going to put a fairly fairly wide stop on this. How many we got? It's about 400 to 600 pips. Just going to go with a buy stop above that IRB there. It's a bit close actually. I wanted to get a bit lower than that, but that'll do. I've got a feeling we're not going to get much of a pullback on this today. Looks like it really wants to go. I have 4 trades open. Power went out about 2 hours ago. Now I have to brace myself. Luckily, my NAS 100 trade is good so far. All trades luckily has TP and stop loss. That's what your phone's for. The backup. Okay, approaching higher day. I don't think that's going to hold, but we'll see. There we go, straight through the higher day. Just drag my TP out further. Bring the stop loss up above break even. .7%. I've got 0.5% in the bag at the moment. Cool, I don't even need to add to any trades this morning. This thing's just on an absolute mission. Okay, banking 0.8. It's 1.3 in the bank. Wait for a pullback. Decent open for a change. Nice move on the FTSE as well. Just coming up into an accumulation up there. Anybody play the opening range breakout this morning? In fact, you couldn't have played the opening range breakout because your entry is going to be here. This is the candle that broke it. I told you it was going to be a hard one this morning. That's a massive, massive, massive opening range followed by an even bigger break. Crazy. See if we can get a pullback on this this move. If it ever ends. Blimey, this thing's on a mission this morning, isn't it? Really should have traded my futures account this morning. In fact, I might open up my futures. These things look like they really want to go today, so might get some futures contracts on as well. on a pullback. Gonna need to wait for a pullback though. Got some ADRs being hit. We'll go through the ADRs in a minute. Australian dollar moving by the looks of things. Damn. Would have crushed the evaluation on the futures account if I'd have traded that this morning. Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollars just hit weekly range high. Whoops. What the hell is going on with this fib? Okay, so looking for a pullback somewhere in there. Assuming they're not just going to push up and collapse it today, obviously. That's an incredible move. That's the biggest open we've had on the DAX for a long time. Long time. Big move. One bar pullback, so we might get one bar pullback again. So we've got two propulsion gaps forming now. We've got one already built. We've got one forming here. So these will come back and get tested at some point today, but see if they want to do a little profit take before moving higher today. Difficult to know where to go with this. Trying to see where they're likely to be headed. 125 ADR today is that high. Which is yesterday's high. Last up candle wick is at 13709. Which is miles away. I'm not going to get all the way up there. So anywhere in this propulsion gap today, I suspect we're going to find some resistance if we get up there, obviously. So 13140. Yesterday's high. Tricky. S&P is not stopping. Do I want to take another long yet? Kind of think this needs a bit of a pullback, but the other indices do not seem to be stopping at the minute. Going long one more. Might regret this one. This is either going to push really hard and just continue to scream out the gates this morning, or we're going to get the pullback. Judging by the price action we've had so far, that could well be just the pullback for the next leg. Okay, S&P got about 170 odd pips to go before potential resistance. So the resistance is more at this level here. That accumulation in New York before the final breakdown. So that's where I'll be looking for that to get to. Lots of room on all these at the moment to the upside. NAS has got even further. The NAS can stop at any of these levels really. There's lots of potential resistance above. The Dow's got plenty of room as well. So I must modify my TP. Move. I don't really want to TP on these yet. So I have 0.6. If I get to 0.7 on this, I'm going to bank it because that's 2% on the morning, which will kind of do me, really. I've only got 10% target. Or this is an evaluation account. I've got 10% target. 2% on the open is quite nice. Or do I push it? What do we do? What do we do? Still, I do think this has got further to go this morning. Does not seem to be stopping, does it? Euro is rocketing, is it? Yeah. Blimey. What's going on with the euro? Absolutely nothing. There's nothing in the news. Nothing. Weird. Yeah, the euro's on a mission. So's the pound by the looks of things, though. Yeah, pound's off too. Markets are recovering everywhere by the looks of things. All coming up to potential resistances, though. Just locking that in. Till I see signs of weakness, I'm not going to get out. May as well just hold it until we see some bearish price action. I'm really tempted to add to it, but I just don't want to add. Normally I would be adding to a position like this, but normally I would have had a pullback. These are tiny. It's difficult to add when you're this extended. But it is starting to show signs of slowing a little bit, but I'm just going to stretch my TP out a little bit further. A little bit of selling pressure coming in now. closing out 0.7%. That's 2% bank. That'll do me for the morning. So first trade was somewhere down here. Got stopped out on this initial trade there for 0.5%. Let's take his fibs off. So yeah, got stopped out on that initial move by 0.5%. And there's the 3 trades for 2.5% total, so 2% banked. And it's still going, look. But I'm not going to chase it anymore. I'm going to monitor it and see if we get a pullback. So this move, this initial out the moves, get out the gates move from the open. So the open's here. So this is one I got stopped out on here. So it was that wick. So basically, I took that IRB there. I got wicked out because I had too tight a stop. I had 400 pip stop. I got took out on that for 0.5%, and the rest is obviously you've seen. So from the open, oh, what the hell? Just going to measure that for a pullback. I think we're going to come back into this area here at some point. The question is whether or not we're going to continue north today, or whether this is a push ready for a drop. I haven't seen anything in the news that has said anything positive about anything. So this, I think, is potentially just a pullback on that initial move down. So we'll see. Right, we'll keep an eye on that. Let's have a look at the where we are with everything else. So ADRs, we got a couple of ADRs here. So Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar come down hard. So the Aussie has had a bad Asia. Big strong move to the downside during Asia, which isn't surprising because we've had such a massive move to the upside on the Aussie. So this is the move basically unfolding. Oops, get rid of that. So we had a nice end pattern reversal. So we had the reversal alert and retest, and we're pushing down. Support is down there. We've got a little accumulation there potentially. We've got lots of little accumulations along the way, potentially to act as support levels. So it depends whether or not whether we've seen the end of this move. So there's 2 things at play here, obviously, with what's happening in Ukraine. At some point, all the movement that we've got happening to the markets based on what's going on in Russia, that will eventually stop. When that stops, we will probably see the market recover slightly, based on obviously what happens next. So these pullbacks that we're getting here look to me to be the sort of pullbacks on these initial moves. Now, the difficulty now is knowing whether or not we're going to get a continuation on these moves. So if you're going to get continuation, anywhere in this zone here is typically where we would look. So that accumulation here, before that propulsion gap was put in, that is basically 125 ADR today, is kind of where we would expect a deep pullback to be. Very deep pullback would be down to 175 ADR in this propulsion gap here, which is this resistance, this support. So that's the question at the moment, is with these Aussies, are we at the end of the moves? Are we just pulling back on the moves, or what is going on? And it's impossible to tell. So Aussie New Zealand obviously has been a lot more up and down because it's the Aussie and the New Zealand. We got a lovely double top. These guys move in tandem together, the Aussie and the New Zealand. We're coming down to bottom range now. So this is either going to hold or it's not. The New Zealand dollar flipped short again on the COT report last week. Blimey. So I'm just watching the DAX on my other monitor. So yeah, it's very difficult call as to whether the New Zealand is going to continue to power up. At the moment, the Aussie is not as strong as the New Zealand, as you can see. So the New Zealand dollar is powering up more than the Aussie, which is good because that is what we were expecting from a COP perspective. But obviously, the COP flipped massively short last week, like amazingly short. So where's my data gone? There's been an update on the website by the looks of things. There we go. So we flipped massively short, like proper opposite direction. So very difficult to tell what's going on with the New Zealand dollar at the minute. But at the moment, it looks like it's obviously powering up. So that DAX is absolutely off the charts. Look. Can't chase it up here. Can't take longs when it's done that out the gates. Be interesting to see what happens at the 90-minute mark. I suspect an hour and a half into the day, we will have found the high of the day. So probably want to be looking for shorts this afternoon. But we'll see what happens on this pullback. So yeah, Aussie, New Zealand, and Euro odd. Obviously, the ADR hits we've had today. Euro's flying, completely the opposite of what we've had. I can't see any V-shaped recovery coming in on this, can you? But we are so far extended away from that moving average. Obviously, it's all starting to play out now. So there's your ADRs. The 4 hours we looked at yesterday, everything was lit up like a Christmas tree. The Euro US dollar is starting its pullback. That's the only thing we've got extended at the moment, but obviously I don't really want to be longing the euro. Yes, it is probably going to pull back. Where to? I've no idea. So I'd be much more inclined to look for short opportunities when we get a decent pullback. So any ADR hits to the high on euro pairs, any hourly extensions on the euro pairs, probably looking for short opportunities, good opportunities to get in short on these things. Until we get some kind of confirmation of what is going to be happening with the next round of sanctions, it's very difficult to tell what to do with any of these European pairs. So everything that was extended is now not extended. So if you did get into any of these, I don't know if anybody got into any of these H4 extensions, but if you did, they are all playing out now. But how much drawdown you would have got into before you got into them, into these moves, don't know. If you've got any hedges on, remove them. Short term, obviously, so that you can start making some profit off of these moves. So Euro US dollar, that one is still extended on the 4 hour, obviously. This propulsion move here, there's no real accumulation in here to target. If you look at this a bit closer. This is the obvious resistance here. We tested it multiple times. We accumulated around it. We broke it. We retested it and we dropped. So this is the obvious resistance. After that resistance, we didn't really have any accumulations. We literally had single candle up. And then we had that accumulation there. This is the only accumulation we had before that down move. We've tested that and rejected it. We're just coming up to test it again. So this is where all this propulsion move happened in here. So quite possibly that's it. It's very, very difficult to call, isn't it? But based on price action and technicals, you've either got a massive move all the way back up there, by which time the 24 will be coming down on top, ready to push it down for the next leg, or this is it. Difficult. But if you get in short anywhere around here, obviously you're looking at a couple of ADR move back up to resistance before you should get your next leg down. So, but obviously this is war. Who knows what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. But those are your kind of options on the Euro US dollar at the moment. With the US dollar, obviously having a little bit of a pullback this morning. Again, same thing on this. Obviously, Euro US dollar is the inverse of the dollar index. So, it's exactly the same thing, isn't it? Just upside down. Yeah. There's your little accumulation in there, which we've retested. So it's the same thing. Basically, the US dollar is either going to continue to go from here or we are going to get the pullback down to sort of the 97.5 level at some point. So call is very difficult on the euro and the US dollar at the minute. Pound yen, you've got extensions on at the moment. We are just basing down the bottom here. We've rejected the lows. We've just had a nice little liquidity run of yesterday's low, and we're pushing up very nicely at the moment on that one as well. But the pound is massively weak, as the FTSE has been. So this is all moving in line with the FTSE, obviously. Again, is this a pullback? Who knows? It's either going to be a pullback or it is going to be the start of a move higher. But you just have no way of telling at the moment with what's going on. So pullback is obvious on this one as well. You're looking up to there, and then next leg down, continuation for US dollar strength. So that's massively extended, obviously. So probably the better of the two, but at any point, this US dollar could just power up. And obviously, based on what's going on with the indices at the moment, we would expect the US dollar to be powering up because the indices are collapsing, aren't they? So we would expect the dollar to get stronger. Pound New Zealand, again, Pound New Zealand and the pound odd. The pound odd's not extended anymore, but the Pound New Zealand pound odd are the same thing. Again, nothing. We didn't stop at all on the way down here. That's our next level. But we've got so many propulsion moves in here that could just act as sellers stepping in for next legs. It could just go at any time. So again, very, very, very difficult to call any of these. But they are starting to show signs of strength this morning, but obviously this is just starting to show signs of strength. We haven't really got any moves started here, have we? We haven't even broken that high. So just be very careful with all of these still. Market is massively bearish. So that's what we've got on the 4-hour RSI extensions. The hourlies, we've got Aussie New Zealand. Again, massive extension coming down to support. So quite possibly we're going to get a support bounce and push. But that could just be a pullback and drop. Okay, so difficult to understand what's going on with that one as well. And Aussie US, same thing. We're just tapping into support at the minute. So nice support there. So see what happens with this doji. If we get bullish price action off of that, could well just be shooting straight off to the upside, and that's going to be based on US dollar strength. Same with all of these. So it's the Aussie US, the Pound US, and the US CAD. Obviously, the US dollar has been pushing up strong. So we haven't got any CAD news this week, have we? I don't think. Yes, we have. We've got unemployment on Friday for the CAD. Again, we're really tight on news tomorrow as well. We've literally got jolts tomorrow afternoon, which really doesn't do an awful lot. Crude obviously is off the scale at the minute. When that's going to stop, nobody knows. I would imagine this morning it's pulling back. I'll have a look at that in a minute as well. And then Thursday is our big day, which is the euro financing rate. So again, these moves that we're seeing tomorrow, this strength on the euro, could well be in preparation for that. And then obviously we're just going to dump it when the rates come out as expected. So as long as that comes out at zero, we'd expect weakness on the euro and the euro to tank. Whether the euro can tank anymore and sustain any more tanking, who knows? But yeah, it's very difficult at the minute. US dollar, CPI as well, we got that on Thursday. So really tricky to see what's making these movements happen because there's no news. And it just looks to me like speculative market movement. So you would expect these to all get undone. Or these are the profit takes off of the speculators that got in short. Again, we don't know how much of this is money moving out of the market and how much of this is speculative short. All the speculative short will need to take profit, which is potentially what we're seeing here. And after that profit take is done, we will start next leg down. So yeah, tricky. Very, very, very tricky. Let's have a quick look at what's going on with oil. Yeah, it's not pulling back at the moment. It's thinking about it. So we had the pullback gap fill yesterday, which we missed. Well, I didn't miss. I just don't trade oil. But I traded the inverse of that on the DAX yesterday. So we've just come up into potential resistance and we're having a little bounce there. But oil, they are calling 150 to 180 for oil. I mean, you can obviously see where we are. This is uncharted territory up here. My chart doesn't go back any further than 2015. Yeah, I mean, we've not been up here before. So, yeah, flip a coin territory. But they're calling 150 to 180. So, you know, looking at the move we've had, this is akin to a Bitcoin move, isn't it? Yeah, you look at the Bitcoin and we were kind of in an accumulation and an explosion. Bitcoin didn't stop. Oil's potentially got movement up to there. So, you know, a speculative long position on oil is not a bad thing to have at the moment. But trying to time it is very, very, very hard because, you know, we are not programmed to chase moves like this. You know, we wait for pullbacks, and this is a gap fill. So is that the pullback before the next leg? If so, jump in now. Yeah. Gary, am I still sitting on my hands with currencies? Yeah. Yeah, at the moment, I'm not trading any FX. Just because I don't know what it's doing. What it's doing at the minute is just alien. You know, I've never traded through a war. No one's traded through a war. None of us. Not a major European invasion like this. Obviously, there's been little wars, and they've all had impact on the markets. But I don't know what is going to happen, and I can't enter into any positions when I don't have a directional bias. Or any indication of what will affect that directional bias. We know that war is affecting currency. We don't know what the next moves are. You know, with normal position trading, I have a directional bias and I have market structure. This is an impending collapse. There's no market structure in this. This is what we would expect to happen when price moves up and down. You can't trade your way out of that. So there's no... It's a very high risk, very high reward scenario. Yeah, if you want to position trade at the moment, short the pound, short the euro, because that is what the pound and the euro are doing. If you start shorting this and Putin gets taken out, or suddenly they come to an agreement, remember the pound is a long on the COT. The futures market before this all happened was long bias on the pound. So if you start shorting this now, assuming we're going to get the next leg down, and this does a V-shaped recovery, you're stuffed. You'll never get out of it because the pound will just go like that. You just can't do it at the minute. It's impossible to trade in that way when you haven't got a directional bias. It's the most important thing. And market structure. We need market structure, because our entire position trading ethos is on the speculative traders moving the market and taking profit, moving the market, taking profit, moving the market, taking profit, moving the market, taking profit. This is not speculative trading. This is a market collapse. There is no profit taking in a collapse. People are extracting their money and putting it elsewhere. There is no profit to take. I don't think. But again, I don't know for sure. Therefore, I can't trade it. It's like that part of trading has been removed. Normal market structure has been removed. You know, we're seeing this at the moment. Yeah, there's no market structure there. That's a parabolic move. So yeah, but if you're going to do it, if you're going to position trade and you're assuming that we are now in a speculative pullback, then yeah, you can get in short on these euros and these pounds, but keep it very, very small. You know, 0.25% risk is too much on a position. But I think you'll find you'll probably just start to sit in drawdown on a lot of stuff and just get hacked off with it. It's much better at the moment to be in and out of the market, as you've just seen, quick. If it moves, get in, get out. You can make very, very good money doing this. It's just very, very tiring, which is why I stopped scalping years ago. But needs must. You've got to adapt. And hopefully this is showing people, this is why I keep going on about EAs and not being able to put an EA on a chart. An EA on the chart at the moment would have blown everybody's accounts because EAs don't know how to handle a war. I can look at this scenario and go, market's not acting as it usually does. Let's sit back and have a look at it. Adapt to the conditions, and that's what you have to do. Markets change. You can't use a trend strategy in a ranging market. You can't use a ranging mean reversion strategy in a trending market. You need to identify those. We've always had to do that. At the moment, we're identifying there's a war and a collapse on most currencies and indices going on. We need to adapt. You've got to change. You've got to change your trading style and the way that you look at the markets. Otherwise, the market's just going to chew you up and spit you out. So, but it will be back. As I said yesterday, one of two things is going to happen. This is either going to escalate into a much bigger situation, in which case doesn't really matter what you do, does it? Or it's going to de-escalate. The markets are going to start to put these V-shaped recoveries back in, and we're going to approach to some kind of normality. As soon as the speculative traders re-enter the market, we will see market structure return, because they will need to enter positions and profit take, and enter positions and profit take, and do what they normally do. We just need to give it a few weeks to figure out when that happens, and we'll see it. Yeah, we'll see. If this pulls back and then does that and puts in another leg, we probably know that this is just an adjustment, and now things are starting as normal. So yeah, I'm not going to do it. I follow you. Don't follow me. I don't always get it right. But yeah, as I say, that's what I'm doing at the minute. Just because I don't know what to do, and I don't mind admitting I don't know what to do. I don't think anybody does. Everybody on Bloomberg and everything's like saying, oh, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, this is going to go there, that's going to go there. You haven't got a clue where anything's going to go. The next nuclear missile that is launched, or the next missile that's launched, if it was to be nuclear, you haven't got a clue where that's going to send the market. Neither have I. So if it goes like that really quick and then pulls back and then goes bullish, I can take a long with a tiny little stop and hopefully gain some money at the market. And that literally, I think, is what you need to do at the moment. You can use the market reversal alerts indicator, as I said, still. Those are the pairs I've identified as being pretty safe-ish to trade, because the yen is neutral, the CAD and the Swiss are neutral, and the US dollar we have a bias long. The pound I had a bias long, but I'm not sure about these. But these are crossed against those US, yen, Swiss and CADs. So I think those are the safest ones to trade. Use those on M15, M15 or H1, and look for low time frame entries, scalps on M5 and M1. I think that's really the best option at the moment. If you don't want to trade indices, but like I say, I'd rather trade indices. Yeah, you're still getting, we've got market structure alert. That's going to be a retest. I think things are still moving, but the problem you have is trying to pick targets and where things are going to go is very, very, very difficult at the minute. So you've got to be nimble. Just be in and out very, very quickly, I think. So we've got pullback at the moment. I want to see this come down a little bit deeper. US dollar CAD, very flipping up, down, but holding long positions. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, that's untradeable. I mean, that's just a mess. It's range bound shorts, so things like this, when you see this happening, like now, right now, M1, look for bearish price action coming off these highs and then play it back down to these lows. You just got to adapt. You got an alert, you got that out of it. you probably would have got out somewhere around there. I would have taken a quick profit. It's really all you can do. Right. Damn war. And Owen is only $125,000 away from your Lambo. Yeah. Only 125k away from a Lambo. I'm always 125k away from a Lambo. That's why I bought a Porsche. Because I can afford one of those. I can't afford a Lambo. Don't think I ever will. I don't think I want one. Every time I think something, when the Porsche goes wrong, something goes wrong with that, it ends up costing me $2 or $3 grand. If something goes wrong with a Lamborghini, I think you've got to remortgage, haven't you? Basically. Wouldn't want to change the tyres on one of those things. Anyway. So yeah, pullbacks going on at the moment. 3 inside range bars, I keep calling those. Inventory retracement bars at the minute. So lots of long signals coming in, but we are still pulling back. We're making new lows. Until we stop making these new lows and we start accumulating within a range, and they'll be looking to take break out the high. So that's it for this morning. I'm going to try and work this morning on the MT5 version of the price action toolkit you see here. I've got problems at the moment with the tester on MT5 trying to get buttons to work in the tester. So what I'm probably going to do is release a version that works fine in MT5 but doesn't work in the tester in MT5, i.e. the buttons don't work in the tester. That's literally going to be the only difference. Everything else will be as it is. So I'm going to work on that this morning because someone was chasing that up this morning and I said I was going to do it, but I just literally haven't had the time at the minute. So I'm going to try and spend a bit of time on that this morning. I've done 2% this morning, scalping that nice, easy long. It's lovely when you get these with just in, out, done. So basically done for the day. I am going to trade the futures this afternoon as well. At 2 o'clock. So again, we've hit these highs on the S&P. Pre-market highs. So we're all stalling out a little bit. Everything's flagging. Classic flags, these. Classic flags. So I might have a quick go at another long leg on this on my futures account and just see if I can get a little bit in the bank. I've got $630 to go to pass the evaluation with Elite. Assuming they give it to me after the muck up yesterday. But anyway, we'll see. I really struggled not to write a strong email back to them yesterday after what they sent me. Oh, really sorry we closed all your positions out with $600 in loss. It was a mistake. Anyway, we've turned the account back on. Yeah, cheers. So yeah, I'm interested to see what happens when they when I pass this. To see if they've got any some prop firms when you pass evaluations, and I've heard this lots of times. They look at your account and go, "Actually, we don't fancy the way you trade," and you're like, "Well, I didn't break any rules." So I'm interested to see if they're one of those, and obviously I will update you and do a video on it if they are, if you're watching. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I'm not far away from qualifying on that. I'm trying to take it a little bit easy and not run for it. When you get to the end of qualification periods, it's easy to do a runner and just sort of say, right, let's go for it. 5 contracts long and hope you get it. But if I can get sort of $200 to $300 a day a couple of times the rest of this week, that'll be that done. I've got to trade 10 days anyway. I'm only 5 days in, so I've got 5 trading days where I've actually got to press buttons anyway. So we'll see. I'm going to start with a long above there. We've got a nice pullback. So this pullback's going in quite nice at the minute. Approaching the 38. Sounds shady. Yeah. I don't know. Do you know what these? There's who was the prop firm that disappeared? Was it my Forex? No, it wasn't my Forex funds. It was Funding Talent. No, it wasn't Funding Talent. Yes, it was Funding Talent. Yeah. Fundingtalent.com. Thank you for all the great memories. We'll miss our community we've built dearly. Yeah, Funding Talent suddenly became quite big. in the prop firm world, and then literally an email came out and went, really sorry, we're shutting, and they vanished without a trace. So these prop firms, especially the new ones with the really nice rules, you've got to be very careful with them, because the vast majority of them cannot afford to keep going, because the business model doesn't work. And this is why Top Step have had such a big problem over the last 6 months, because they change their rules every 5 minutes to base to suit their business model. So if too many people make too much money too quickly and they can't use all the evaluation fees to pay those people the profits, they have to put more restrictions in place, like, oh, actually, you can only draw out when you get to 10 grand in profit. What do you mean? You didn't say that before? Well, now that's the case, because we haven't got enough money in the bank to pay you. And a lot of these prop firms will get themselves into that sort of situation. So you've got to be very careful with them. And I think the ones that are established, like FTMO and Top Step, you just have to really go with their rules. Apex, Lilu, ones that have been around for a while if you're trading futures. So we'll find out what happens with them, with Apex. With Elite, if I pass. But yeah, so pullback's still going on. I'm tempted to take another little long on this at some point, but I'm just going to wait. I'd like to ideally see us get a 50%. I think that's kind of what I'm looking for. I want to see us get back to the 20 at least, ideally within the 50 to 20, and then look for a next leg. Sort of round about there would be absolutely great, but we'll see. But yeah. Okay, so I'll leave it there. Anything you need, come in the Telegram group. I will be in there today. I'm always in there. And this afternoon, as I say, I will be back at 2:00. Probably going to trade the futures account. I'll see how it goes this morning. I might take a futures trade this morning. If I do, I'll stick it in the Telegram group. You see I've got one pending buy there, and I'll have a pending buy above the highs. So initially, I'm looking for a break of high. So if I get gathered up there, I'll add there and look for another leg basically to get out on, just to put something in the bank to start off with. But if we do get a big day today, we could see a very big move up during the London session. Obviously, Frankfurt's opened with an absolute screamer. If London decides to continue that this morning, we could have a really good up day, in which case then we'll be looking for a New York drop this afternoon. So we'll see how it goes. But if this continues to drop down, I'm just going to drag these buy stops down above the highs of the 5-minute candles until we get a pump, and then I'll just get chucked in. Good trading or not trading at all? Yeah, you got to be careful at the minute. Very careful. We've got no news catalysts at the moment either, so there's nothing that's going to suddenly flick this in one direction or the other, which is quite nice for a couple of days to have no news. But obviously, news can come out at any point. EU to consider a massive joint bond sale to fund energy. Yeah, we've just had that come in 17 minutes ago. Tell me again how interest rates can normalise ever. So that might be why we had that strong euro. They're considering a joint bond sale to fund energy and defence. So they basically need to fill the coffers. I don't see that as being positive for the euro, really, though, because if they do fill the coffers, it's immediately going to flow back out in the opposite direction. So, again, one of those moves we had on the euro, isn't it? Remember, we had that euro move a couple of weeks ago. I was like, what the hell? Oh, yeah, actually, no. Or was it that one? Yeah, what the hell? Oh, actually, no. Can't see it. Can't see it being something that's going to actually prepare. No, there it is. Look, sorry, it was that, wasn't it? So that was the rates coming out as expected, and everyone went, whoa, and everyone was like, ECB came out and said, you've got this wrong. And they went, yeah, actually, we have got it wrong. So probably same thing. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Right, I'll leave it there. Nice drop continuing on the euro pound. That's not it. Move back to the right instrument. So that's my plan for this morning. I'll be back at 2:00. If you need anything, come in the Telegram group. Give us a thumbs up if you liked the stream, and hopefully see you this afternoon, and we'll get some more money out of the futures this afternoon. Have a good morning.